Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to recognize in our presence tonight Sister Grace Duncan, a former member of Parliament, former Senator and Minister of Government, Dr. George Vincent, former Senator Matthew Joe, and of course the lady of the night, former Senator, and the next Member of Parliament for the constituency of St. John, Sister Kareem James.
Don't worry, man, you'll get
I like to call her KG because I think that there's something special about the K and the G. You know it better than me. You produced the first KJ that made history for Grenada.
Yeah.
And you'll produce the next KJ that will also make history for Grenada.
Yeah.
Sisters and brothers, ladies and gentlemen who are here tonight with us, those of you who are in your homes listening in, those who may be online following us, wherever you are, I want to take this opportunity to wish you a very good evening and to thank you for coming out tonight to hear that message of hope from our sister Kareem James. I just came from a meeting in St. George Northeast where I spoke on behalf of our brother Ron Redhead, and I decided it was extremely important for me to come here tonight. Because these two people, Sister Kareem James and Brother Ron Redhead, have a special place in my heart. In 2018, when the party lost the general elections and the Governor General was going to invite the NDC to select two candidates for the Senate. He said, we are going to give you two positions in the Senate, and we want you to tell us who are the names that the party would recommend. And without any hesitation, I suggested to the other members of the party that we should recommend one young male and one young female to represent us as senators in the parliament. I further recommended that male person should be Brother Ron Redhead, and the female person should be Sister Kareem James. And when that decision was taken and accepted by the Governor General, history was created, because Kareem James became the youngest senator in the history of our country. The youngest senator in the history of our country. And the youngest senator in the Commonwealth. The youngest senator in the Commonwealth of Nations. Those 52 nations across the world that were former colonies of the United Kingdom. At that time, she was the youngest senator in the entire Commonwealth of Nations. That was history. So Guam has already created history. St. John has already created history. And you're about to create history the second time with your sister. Sisters and brothers, our country is at a historic crossroad at the moment. We are in a crossroad, and the direction we take will determine whether we stay on a path of stability, growth, and development, or whether we end up over the precipice. Our country is at a historic crossroad, because for the first time in 5 years, you will actually get to decide who will govern the affairs of our country. It is extremely important because it is the only time, Thursday is the only day in the next 5 years when you will get to decide who will govern the affairs of our country for the next 5 years.
Yes.
If you make the wrong decision, you will not be able to do anything about it for the next 5 years. If you make the wrong decision, you will not be able to do anything about it for the next 5 years. And therefore, before you make that decision, you must think carefully. You must ask yourself some important questions and think carefully. This election is not about Nathan Burke. This election is not even about Kareem James. This election is about you. This election is about your family. This election is about your constituency, your village, your community, and your nation. The question that you have to address before you make that choice is, which political party is likely to do the best thing for our country at this particular point in time? I am not here to just call people nasty names and so on, because I don't believe in that kind of politics. The question you have to ask yourself when you get to the polls, and it's just you and your conscience and your God in there, ask yourself the question, which of the two political parties is likely to do the best thing for our country at this particular point?
That's right.
And as you make that decision, I want to urge you to consider a few things. The new National Party won the elections in 1995, and it remained in office until 2008. That was 13 and a half years in office. And then in 2008, the National Democratic Congress won the elections, and they remained there until February 2013. So we were in office for 4.5 years. So you had one government in office for 13 and a half years, then one government in office for 4.5 years, and since 2013, you've had the new National Party back in office for another 9 years. 13 and a half and 9.5 is 23.
Yes.
Yes? So of the last 27 years in the country's history, one party has been there for 23 years and one party has been there for 4 years, governing the affairs of the country. They can blame NDC as much as they want. They can say we didn't do this and we didn't do that. We didn't do this and we didn't do that. But you look for yourself. One party has been in office for 23 years and one party has been in office for 4 years. Ask yourself this question. If one party was there for 23 years and one was there for 4 years, can you really compare? Can you really compare the two and ask the performance? The party that was there for 23 years had an opportunity to do all kinds of things for the country. The party that was there for 4 years had a very limited lifespan. And that party came into office in 2008 when the world was going through an economic crisis.
I was in America.
Yes, that was the worst economic crisis that the world had experienced since the Great Depression of 1929. The worst economic crisis that the world had experienced since the Great Depression of 1929. And in spite of that crisis, the National Democratic Congress was able to do a number of very critical things for our country. As you look back on those 23 years of the new National Party, you cannot help but conclude, if there was one person who truly had the opportunity to make a difference in the quality of life of our people, it was Dr. Mitchell. As Prime Minister for 23 years, he had an opportunity to do so much.
You start to get sick now.
He had an opportunity to do so much. After Hurricane Ivan, he could have said, we are going to expand the planting of cocoa and nutmegs, the replanting of cocoa and nutmegs, so that we will be able to create more and sell more of our produce, which is high quality produce, on the world market. He could have said, instead of leaving all of our fields to be covered in vines, I'm going to hire people to help the farmers work their land, instead of having the people on the side of the road cutting bush 2 and 3 times a year. He could have said, we are going to develop tourism right here in St. John. We are going to develop the Black Bay Cave. We are going to develop the digs. We are going to turn Federal's Camp into a genuine tourism site that people can come and visit. And we can have people from St. John's working in these communities, earning a living. He could have said we were going to develop the fishing industry and expand the opportunities for the people here in St. John, so that their sisters and brothers would not only be selling fish, they will be selling processed fish, because a processing plant could have been created to process our fish. And the people of Guav and the people of St. John could have been earning a decent income. In that way, sisters and brothers, they would not be depending on a politician for $50. They would not be going to school, some of the young people, and coming out with 5 and 6 CXCs and still have to try to see if they get a little debushing thing on the side of the road. Those children who would have done their CXCs and wanted to go to TAMCC would not have been denied the opportunity to go to TAMCC because they just did not have the money. Those young persons who finished TAMCC and were looking for an opportunity to go to university would not have been denied if the government was really looking after the needs of our people. Our health situation would not be as terrible in our country. There were many opportunities for Dr. Mitchell and the New National Party to make a difference in the quality of life of our people. And they failed miserably. They failed miserably, sisters and brothers. And after all these years, they come in and tell us about legacy, and they want to give people a toilet. They want to give people a toilet and say that the legacy is that I give a man a toilet. A toilet is a human right, sisters and brothers. Let's be clear on that. A toilet, an indoor toilet, proper sanitation facilities is a basic human right, as it is to have water in your home, as it is to have electricity in your home. So too, you must be entitled to an indoor toilet facility. And so they must not come and talk about legacy. You see, sisters and brothers, your legacy is not something you come and demand from the people, waving a cutlass and saying, I want legacy. Your legacy is the verdict of the people. Your legacy is the verdict of the people. It is the judgment that the people pass on you based on your conduct, based on your integrity or your lack of integrity, based on the things you have done against them, based on the spite and wickedness and vindictiveness you have meted out to them. That is how you will be judged, whether you are a decent and honorable leader, or whether you were a ruler trying to be selfish for your own purposes. And so this is not the time to be voting because you want to give a man one for the road. Don't be fooled into that stuff about one for the road. Sisters and brothers, Grenada is not a rum shop. Grenada is not a rum shop. And so anybody come and tell you about one for the road, tell them you don't want no one for the road. You want one for the future. You want one for the future. You want to select somebody who will build the future for our country, not one for the road. You only want to come and beg for one for the road is the man who is drinking on the job.
Give me a last chance.
We don't have no time for no one for the road.
Give me a last chance.
I want to urge you, sisters and brothers, to make a wise and sensible choice when that day comes on Thursday. Because what you need is not a ruler. You don't want somebody who just go in and wind up and wear tight clothes around election time and forgetting you for the next year and a half. You need somebody who understands your community. You need somebody who is committed to service and serving you. You need somebody who is willing to understand, sisters and brothers, that every community is different. Everybody has the need, and whether you're green or you're yellow, everybody is part of the St. John community and constituency, and they must be given a listening ear. You need the right person to represent you in the parliament. You don't need nobody who just looking to advance themselves and take advantage of young girls. You need somebody, sisters and brothers, who is going to understand that their role and their responsibility is to serve you. And if you elect them, they're working for you and not the other way around. And so, sisters and brothers, that is why I'm here tonight. I'm here tonight because I can come here and confidently say to you that I endorse Sister Karine James as the next Member of Parliament for the constituency. Sisters and brothers, I met Sister Karine one night. We had a meeting. Who was that meeting? I think it was somewhere on Peter Street. And I came up to speak at one of the meetings that our brother George Vincent was having. And in talking to him, I said, well, who are the speakers you have tonight? Because I didn't see anybody, but I saw this young lady standing beside him. I said, well, who are your speakers tonight? Tell me, well, Karine talking? I said, who is Karine? And he pointed at this young lady. I thought he was joking. I didn't realize he was serious. That this young lady, she would have been, I don't know, might have been about 17 at the time. And when she took the mic and she began to speak, I realized we were dealing with a serious individual. Yes. We were dealing with a serious individual. And since that time, sisters and brothers, I have interacted with Karine at different levels, in different situations. Right? And I can tell you, sisters and brothers, one of the things I admire the most about her is a level of maturity. One of the things I admire the most about Karine is a level of personal maturity. She is a person that operates well beyond her years. She operates as a person that has been on the planet for a much longer time than she has been on the planet. She shows good judgment. She shows a very balanced personality. She has the ability to listen. She is respectful. And sisters and brothers, the first quality of a person with integrity is self-respect. Self-respect. Because if you don't respect yourself, nobody will respect you. That's right. People take their cue from you and how you treat yourself. And I have watched the sister grow into a very mature young politician. Somebody that I can say, sisters and brothers, will make this constituency proud. Somebody who would serve you with diligence. Somebody who would serve you with commitment. And as I said earlier, you have a chance to do something that no other constituency gets to do, which is to choose the youngest member of parliament to serve you in the country. I believe, sisters and brothers, that we are in a very fortunate position in Bermuda today. Because at the time when we were having some of the worst quality of government, at a time when our country's institutions were all broken, At a time when our agricultural system had collapsed. At a time when our education system had collapsed. At a time when our health system had broken. At a time when we were experiencing some of the worst kind of governance in the history of our country. At that same time, our party was going through its own challenges. And the question that many of you were asking is, where does Grenada go from here? We tired of Keith Mitchell, but where is the alternative? That was the question that many of you were asking. Today, sisters and brothers, we can say confidently and proudly, the alternative is here, and the alternative will form the government after Thursday. We have been able to identify a young, dynamic leader in our brother Keith Mitchell, who has stepped forward with a clear vision for the future of our country. He does not spend his time calling the other side nasty names. He spends his time laying out his vision for the country. And sisters and brothers, vision is important. Vision is a basic ingredient of leadership. When we talk about vision, it's not a magical word. You know what vision is? Vision is the ability to spot opportunities when nobody else can see them. That's all that vision is. The capacity to spot opportunities, to see opportunities where other people can't see them. So if you have one man that's saying, I cannot pay the pension, where are we going to get the money from to pay the pension? It means that man does not have a vision. He cannot see how the pension and paying the pension can be used to transform our country and to grow and expand and create jobs and opportunities. The other man says to the brothers, who says, I am going to pay the pension. I'm going to pay the pension because when I pay the pension, I'm putting money in the hands of those pensioners. And they can end up setting up a business. And if they set up a business, they can create jobs for some of the people who are now unemployed. And if I give the people their pension, they can pay for the young children who want to go to university and get a degree and come back so they don't have to work in the devotion program. They can buy goods and create demand in the community. And if more people are producing more goods and creating more income, then the government itself will be able to tax more and earn more money to be able to reduce the debt. So paying the pension has a way of stimulating the economy, expanding growth, creating employment and earning foreign exchange for our country. If you have the vision of how the pension can change our country, you will say, I'm going to pay the pension. If you don't have the vision, you will say, where we go get the money from? We are getting the money to pay pension. In other words, sisters and brothers, the difference between the man who says I will pay the pension and the man who says I can't pay the pension is one of vision. We are proud to say Brother Deacon Mitchell has come with a clear vision for our country. He has been going around the country laying out that vision. His vision for agriculture, his vision for health, his vision for education, his vision for paying people twice a month instead of once a month so as to increase the circulation of money in the country. His vision for raising the minimum wage so that people can have a basic salary. He has been laying all of these things out, sisters and brothers, for our people. And we are proud to say that not only has he laid out a clear vision for the country, but he has also, sisters and brothers, been able to pull together with him. He has been able to pull together with him a team of 14 other competent individuals. Competent, capable individuals, talented and accomplished in their own skills, in their own fields and occupations, and who, together with him, will transform our country. We now have an opportunity, sisters and brothers, to move from stagnation to transformation. We have an opportunity to move away from stagnation and on a path of transformation. If we are going to do that, you must make the right choice on election day. If we are going to achieve that, you must choose the National Democratic Congress as your next government on Thursday. I therefore want to encourage you, sisters and brothers, when you go to the polls on Thursday, to put your vote besides the name Kareem James. Put your X besides the name Kareem James. Put your X besides the heart. Put your X besides the heart, and you will be voting for Kareem James. You will be voting for progress in St. John. You will be voting for transformation of your constituency, for transformation of your parish, for transformation of your country, for transformation of your lives. This is an important decision. You cannot afford to get it wrong. I want to encourage you, sisters and brothers, to give Sister Kareem James the opportunity to serve you. Do not be fooled about this idea that she is too young. Do not be fooled about the idea that the people who are now putting themselves forward to run our country are too young. I want to remind you, Dr. Keith Mitchell was born in 1947. Dr. Mitchell was born in 1947. In 1972,
yes,
before he became 25 years old, in 1972, at the age of 24, he ran to become the Member of Parliament for the constituency of St. George Northwest. He lost in that election, but he ran at the age of 24 to become the Member of Parliament for St. George Northwest. And if a man at the age of 24 was prepared to run to become the Member of Parliament, how could you be opposed to a man of 44 years old running to become a Member of Parliament and saying he's too young? President Obama of the United States became the President of the United States at the age of 43. That country has 300 million people. And if a 43-year-old person was able and willing to govern 300 million people, there is no reason why a 44-year-old cannot govern 110,000 people. Sisters and brothers, Maurice Bishop, our former Prime Minister, was 29 years old when he became the leader of the New Jewel movement. Our former leader, Sir Eric Gairy, was 28 years old when he became the leader of his party. Today, sisters and brothers, President Macron in France is 48 years old. Prime Minister Trudeau in Canada is 45 years old. And today, sisters and brothers, in countries like Denmark and Finland, you have a Prime Minister that is 34 years old, a Minister of Defense that is 32 years old, a Minister of Finance that is 33 years old. Don't be afraid of young people. Young people have the capacity, they have the energy, they have the talent, they have the drive, they have the imagination to transform our country. Let us give them the support that they deserve. We will all be better for it. I want to encourage you, sisters and brothers, to make history. Vote for Sister Kareem James as your next Member of Parliament, and you will be proud for it. I know she has a lot to say to you tonight. I don't want to too long, but my heart is with her. I want to ask you to give her your blessing, give her your support. Let's make St. John a place that you will be proud of the work that she is doing in the Parliament on your behalf. Thank you very much, sisters and brothers. May God bless you all.
Blessing, blessing.
Thank you very much, Brother Buck. EG Syrian falling, so that is shut down for me. You know what it is? Yeah, I'm like the purge in the place. Place to the purge. Yeah, man. Wash out all them bad mind and bad energy and bad spirit. Yeah. Fresh blood about to take over. Of course they got to go. And they will be going. Not long again. Is it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? We might make up already. Which symbol we voting? And who we voting for? Who we voting for? Yeah. Gary. No doubt about that. So ladies and gentlemen, walk down St. John's. I'm about to introduce our next speaker. Give him a listen, please. Let him make a part. The lads, we are about to introduce our next speaker. This individual holds an associate in law, geography, and sociology, and graduated from SU in 2021 with a bachelor's degree in psychology. Of course, she's intelligent. She's a political activist, a former senator, and our current candidate. Let's give it up for none other than Miss Karen C. James.
Play the music.
They call her Little Miss Kim, but I call her the Fire Empress. She's full of vibes and energy.
It's a fire song.
The rain. We did it for 1,000 nights. We did the music for 1,000 nights, didn't it? You want it now or you want it 1,000 nights? No?
Yes.
No, 1,000 nights. 1,000 nights to celebrate it.